Hi, friends. If you're like me, you've been watching the news about the devastating aftermath of Hurricane Helene and wondering what you can do to help. Our communities in Southwest Virginia have been hit hard, and many of the places we know and love will be impacted for years to come. What you're about to hear is a conversation I had with Amanda Livingston, Director of Tourism in Smyth County, Virginia. Smyth is located in between Abingdon and Wytheville and is home to a portion of Mount Rogers National Recreation Area, as well as our first state park, Hungry Mother. The charming small town of Marion is a trail town in the center of Smyth County where thousands of Appalachian Trail hikers stop to rest and refuel. Amanda shares how the storm has impacted the communities of Southwest Virginia, provides us with an update on the status of our trails, parks, and public lands, and most importantly, she emphasizes the power we have as an outdoor community to help by simply doing what we love, visiting and enjoying the incredible outdoor assets Appalachia provides. Please check the show notes of this episode for links to local organizations that are providing aid in Southwest Virginia, as well as links to resources with the status of trails, parks, and other public lands. And please do share this episode with your friends and neighbors and suggest they plan a visit when Southwest Virginia is ready to host visitors again. Together, we can make a difference for our neighbors right here in Virginia. Amanda, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate you taking the time, given everything that is going on in Southwest Virginia. I know that you have been pulled in lots of different directions, helping people in the community and helping people in the region. So I really thank you for taking the time to let all of my listeners know what exactly is happening in Southwest Virginia in the wake of Hurricane Helene. So could you paint us a picture of what's happening in Southwest Virginia? Like, what is the situation right now?
Yeah, absolutely. I was out driving around in the county yesterday and kind of got a view of what's going on. You know, it's one of those nuanced things where we are very lucky in a lot of ways. We didn't get the number of fatalities and that kind of thing that Western North Carolina did. But what we are dealing with now is sort of a crisis of infrastructure and a crisis of reaching folks. You know, we are Appalachian. We are a mountainous terrain. We've got a lot of steep slopes. We've got a lot of small mountain streams. We've got folks on wells. We've got folks in remote areas. And so when the hurricane came through, you know, you picture a hurricane and it's just, it floods and there's winds and then it goes. And so we didn't really realize at first just how bad it was going to be because the amount of water that was dumped on this area, the streams and the creeks and the rivers couldn't hold it. And so we've got roads washed out, we've got power lines down, we've got leaks in the water system and sewer system. So it's a crisis of people not having access to basic needs. And if you have spent any time in the mountains in Appalachia, you know, the stuff that people come here for is the isolation and the beauty and the terrain and being able to be up on those peaks. And that's what people love living here too. But that is right now, that's our challenge is dealing with that infrastructure stuff. Here in Smyth County, for instance, we still have 36% of the population of residents without power 7 days in. And the downtowns and the commercial areas got power back after a couple of days, but now it's just a matter of going, you know, valley by valley and holler by holler to reach all those folks. So it's slow going.
Can you explain how this is impacting parks and trails in our public lands?
Absolutely. We did have massive damage to our public lands here in Southwest Virginia, especially in the areas that have now been declared the disaster zone. We have some of the most iconic outdoor recreation in Virginia. We have the Appalachian Trail goes right through this area. We've got the Virginia Creeper Trail. We have Grayson Highlands State Park with the ponies, Hungry Mother State Park here in Smyth County, Burke's Garden. So we have these incredibly popular areas. And yes, they are greatly impacted. To be totally honest, we don't even know yet what the scope is. I've been trying to stay in touch with these folks, but I'll be honest, you know, they're out on trails trying to assess safety issues. They haven't had time to spend all day on the phone with me. But yeah, right now, and this is as of today, October 3rd, all of those areas are closed. The state parks are closed, and they are asking people to stay out of Mount Rogers National Recreation Area. And they just need to assess, some of that is that we've got sort of hanging trees and branches. We don't want anyone in there if there's a possibility of their safety being at risk.
Yeah. Talk a little bit about some of these more popular areas that folks might know about, like the Creeper Trail or New River Trail or even the Appalachian Trail. What's the status of those areas?
They are closed, and I forgive me if I get emotional. I want visitors to know, so I'm an outdoorsy person. I'm married to someone who owns an outfitter. And so like, these are fun areas. They are recreation areas. They are also our livelihood here in Southwest Virginia. We are a region, we're not an urban area. Outdoor recreation is our lifeblood. And we're really attached to these places too. I mean, these are points of pride. This is our home. So the one, unfortunately, that is one of the most damaged is the Virginia Creeper Trail. And we know that they have lost, I think at last count, I heard 19 of the bridges on the Creeper Trail have been lost. They're gone. And so primarily that area that was affected is in the Mount Rogers National Recreation Area and including Damascus. There is a section in the Abingdon section that is open. So they are encouraging people to, come do trail cleanup and enjoy that section, but just being really clear that the upper section is totally closed, and we don't know how long that's going to be before it reopens. The Appalachian Trail, of course, is many, many miles of trail here in Virginia. They are asking people to stay off of that trail at this time just to allow space and for them to clean up and for the trail clubs to assess what's going on and for their own safety. So we do hope that can be reopened soon. But yeah, Appalachian Trail, again, we're talking, trees down, hanging limbs. And then also in some of our trail towns, lack of access to amenities. They need to really, like in Damascus, they need to focus those resources on the people who live there. By contrast, Marion, where I am right now, which is also a trail town, we've got power, we've got internet, we've got water. So we are able to sort of accept people. But again, we're kind of just asking folks to just, give it a little bit of time and wait and see.
For people who want to stay updated on the status of these outdoor areas, are there any clubs or resources or places where they could go to check to see what the status is?
Yeah, I would highly encourage folks to follow the tourism pages for each of these areas if you can, find them. Yeah, we're interested in giving out really accurate information. It's in our best interest to keep that up to date. Specifically, the Creeper Trail does have its own Facebook page. It's the virginiacreepertrail.org. I don't know if folks know the Appalachian Trail is maintained entirely by volunteers. It's not maintained by the federal. It's owned by the federal government, but it's not maintained by the feds. Here in Virginia, we've actually got 2 of the clubs that are responsible for the trail. So I would encourage people to seek out information on them. And just in the long term, too, get involved. And, they do trail cleanups, they do fundraisers, they do fun stuff. They're good people. So the 2 that I would encourage people to check out here in Virginia are the Piedmont Appalachian Trail Club, and that's sort of north of where I am to the Virginia line. And they go by PATH, PATH, so seek them out on Facebook. And then the other one is the Mount Rogers Appalachian Trail Club, which is from here kind of down towards Tennessee. And they, again, are on Facebook. So I would definitely check them out and try to get involved there. And also, check out this podcast. I think you said you were able to put some information in the show notes. So look for that. Again, information is slowly coming out, and we're in day 7 of the crisis, but we're in basically like day 2 of the cleanup. I am getting, like, even during this interview, I am getting texts about updates and things that are happening. So we're trying to get that information out there, but sometimes it is a slow process to get the accurate information out.
Yes. And I will put links to all those things in the show notes. And as things are being updated, if anybody sends me a resource that I think people would want to know about, I can add that to the show notes. So hopefully this episode will be a resource that's constantly being updated via the show notes so people can check on that. And I'll also include a link to Virginia State Parks because, as you mentioned, there are many parks that are closed: Hungry Mother, Grayson Highlands, also Natural Tunnel, New River Trail, and Seven Bends, which is a little bit farther north, but those are the parks that are currently closed due to storm damage. And so I'll put a link in there so people can see what the status of that is. Amanda, here's the most important part. How can listeners help?
We do still have immediate needs. I will say we are still in recovery mode. We still have, again, citizens without running water and electricity. If folks feel moved to help, I mean, honestly, cash at this point, we have organizations here on the ground working, and they really have boots on the ground and they're embedded in the community. So I will put in a plug for my own community. The Smyth County Community Foundation has set up a fund, and there is no overhead on that. This is just a fund. 100% goes to relief efforts here in Smyth County. And then the other one, region-wide, because this is a region-wide crisis, is at the United Way of Southwest Virginia. That is our regional United Way chapter. They have a really good track record of helping with natural disasters in our area, and they've got the infrastructure in place. So I will put in a plug for them as well. And then in the long term, again, I'm a tourism person. It goes against every fiber of my being to tell you to stay home and not come here. You know, that's not what I'm about. One of the things that is keeping me up at night is that people will forget about us. And I know people have good hearts, but the attention span is short and there's always a lot of other stuff going on. And so don't forget about us. Keep us in your thoughts and your prayers. And then start thinking about planning a vacation, because when we are ready to open, we want you to come, and we will be here. And we'll be here and we'll have the same amazing outdoor recreation and we'll have good stuff to offer. So just keep us in mind and don't forget about us.
I think visitation is absolutely key. And I'm so glad you said that, because our tourism dollars go a long way towards driving the economy here in Virginia, even when there's not a crisis. So in times like these, I think it's especially important and powerful for those of us who can go and visit to be able to do that, to make those plans and to get down there and to spend our dollars in a place that could really use it. And I really do hope that people take that message to heart. And I hope that they remember how powerful they are when they do leave their home and go to someplace else to recreate, because that is generating a lot of income for those areas. The restaurants, the breweries, the wineries, the hotels, the B&Bs, the parks, all of those things are thriving when people come to visit. So we as an outdoor community have a lot of power in that regard.
Yep, that's right. And we love to have you, and we love hosting. We're Appalachia. We're all about hospitality.
Yes. Well, Amanda, again, thank you so much. I know this is a difficult time for you and you've got a lot going on. So I feel like I need to let you go so that you can get to it. But thank you again for coming on to the show to talk about what's happening. And again, reminder for the listeners, I will be linking all of the organizations that Amanda mentioned in the show notes. So if you feel compelled to help our neighbors and help our friends in Southwest Virginia, it's just a click away in your show notes. Amanda, thank you again.
Thank you so much. I'm really grateful for the opportunity.